Thank you. Well, Good Yantiv. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday holiday. President George Washington's birthday holiday. President Abraham Lincoln's birthday holiday. Even Christopher Columbus's birthday holiday. In this country, we celebrate and honor people's lives by celebrating their birthdays. It's just the opposite in Judaism. We make ritual connections to our dearly departed not by remembering their birthdays, but rather their yahrzeits, the anniversary of their deaths. We light a 24-hour Yizkor remembrance candle. In fact, we light that candle 5 times per year. On the last day of Pesach, Passover, last day of Shavuot, last day of Sukkot, and last night for Yom Kippur before you came here to Shul. Why do we ritually ignore our loved ones' birthdays after they pass away and elevate their yahrzeits? It's a great question. I know it's a great question because a congregant recently asked it of me, and I thought I would try to answer it today. It is part of a larger conversation of making connections between ourselves and our departed loved ones at Yizkor. But to answer this question, I'd like to begin with a story of profound personal meaning which happened this summer. Our family vacation in Hawaii. It was a lovely experience to be in paradise, but it was also deeply moving. I was able to greet my 4th grade teacher, Mr. Kalani Ventura. He lives on the island of Oahu. I had not seen him in almost 40 years, since he traveled 500 miles from Northern California to Southern California, where my family had recently moved, to be the only friend who attended my bar mitzvah. We had been in touch all those years through correspondence, but since he moved back to Hawaii, we were never able to see one another. I need to add one other piece of information to the story before I describe the reunion. Kalani had shared with me that he was recently given a prognosis of only 1 year to live, given his deteriorating lung condition. I had something I wanted to say to Kalani, and I wanted my wife and my daughters to witness it. We found my beloved 4th grade teacher still looking good at 82. True, he was now gray, but there's nothing wrong with being gray. And he had a portable air tank. But he looked much as I remembered him when I was an eager-to-please 9-year-old. I knew exactly what I wanted to say to Mr. Ventura, my first mentor. I had practiced the speech over and over in my head, but would it come out right? My daughter, Ariella, spotted the perfect place for our meeting. It was off the lobby, amid exotic colored parrots and a small pond filled with multicolored fish. I got down to it. Kalani, I began. It's so strange to call your childhood teacher by his first name, but when in Hawaii? Kalani, everything I have been able to achieve intellectually in my life is because of the firm foundation you created for me 40 years ago. You guided me through my very first research paper on Thomas Jefferson, who, despite the current Hamilton craze, I continue to admire. And then you guided me on another paper on Father Junipero Sierra and the establishment of the chain of missions in Spain, which they used to colonize California. But more than anything else, you went the extra distance as a teacher. When our school district failed to give you the transportation you requested to get our class to San Francisco for our field trip, you organized our moms in an effective 40-mile caravan with you in the lead car. And I had the honor of getting to sit in the front seat with you and learn Hawaiian songs all along the way. I still like to sing Pearly Shells. Our educational visit to the Ghirardelli Chocolate Factory was pretty memorable too. I not only learned how to think and research because of you, but I was also inspired how to be a better human being because of your shining example. This and more I shared with him in front of my family. Then, Kalani was a teacher again. He told us about his docent work he was doing now at Washington Place. This included a vivid description of Hawaii's last monarch of royal lineage. The way Kalani explained this unexplored piece of American history totally captivated my family and gave them a taste of the type of teaching that I had been treated to some 45 years ago. Now, by a show of hands, how many of you have ever had the opportunity to reach out to a childhood mentor or role model and years later, in adulthood, thank them for helping them make you the person you are today? Okay. You're lucky. You're blessed. It doesn't have to be a school teacher, you know. It could be a person much closer to you, like a beloved Boba or a Zeta, or if you're old enough, perhaps your mom or dad or a special aunt or uncle. That special person who helped make you who you are today might just be someone who has passed away, who you're remembering at the service we will soon begin, the Yizkor service of remembrance. This is our moment to reconnect, to make a kesher, a connection with that loved one or those loved ones who shaped our lives. And even if you never properly thank them for all they did to make you who you are, by remembering them with the Mourner's Kaddish prayer, you can thank them now. If you are willing to accept our religion's mystical tradition, that at times like these, Yizkor, or during a yahrzeit, you and the soul of your loved ones are reunited, then it is possible to both thank your loved ones posthumously and for them to be aware of it. And they may benefit from your prayer from beyond the grave. Now, given the choice, it is much better to thank your role models while they are still alive to hear it. But Judaism provides the opportunity to have a second chance to thank that person even after they have passed away. And now, my friends, you have some answers as to why in Judaism we elevate the anniversary of a death date over a birth date to honor our loved ones. Our ancient rabbis, almost 2,000 years ago in the Mishnah, and refined in the Talmud, explored ideas of the afterlife. They were convinced that our recitations of Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish, with its elevated language, praising the magnificence of God in hyperbolic, lavish Aramaic, actually helped our loved one's soul to ascend higher heights in heaven. This idea, almost 2 millennia old, suggested that the connection between the living and the dead is immortal. It cannot be torn asunder by death. And just as the living can be of help to the dead, so our blessed dead can intercede in life for us at moments of peril. Did you know, for example, that it used to be the tradition not to give a child a middle name when they were born? Instead, that name was held in reserve so that if that child, God forbid, became perilously ill, they could be given a second name of a deceased relative who lived a particularly long and healthy life. And it was further believed that those physical qualities would be given as a gift to the child who was in harm's way. This is also the reason why Ashkenazic Jews of Central and Eastern Europe descent, why many of you named babies for beloved deceased relatives with unique moral and ethical qualities. It is believed those qualities can be inherited by the children. On this bima, when a child has a bar or bat mitzvah, parents, right before presenting the talit, take a moment to share for whom their child is named and how, in these past 13 years, the child has grown into the name they were given. It is really quite a moment. That is why I believe our Yizkor service is so potent. I knew I needed to spend some serious time with Kalani talking about his health, his struggle for breath, and his impending death, may it be far off. And this is what I told him. You, Kalani, will continue to be with us long after you physically pass, because of everyone you have taught, everyone you have inspired, and everyone who continues to teach in your name as I do. Then I took his forehead of this deeply religious Christian man into my hand and offered the threefold priestly benediction. This was one of the most spiritual moments I've ever had in my life. I share it with you now because I want you at Yiskor to have your own deeply spiritual and healing experience. As it says in Deuteronomy, it is not across the sea, it is not far off. Lo b'shamayim hi, it's not in heaven, rather it is right here. And with that idea fresh in your heart and soul, we begin Yiskor together as we rebuild the connection between our dearly departed and ourselves, and we say thank you.